scandalizing the court. In that there are two cases. First is Lord Mansfield is criticized. These are the first meanings: scandal, eloquent, seizure, trample, stab, fatally, and prostitute. So go through these meanings, then you will understand the case easily. So first case is about the Lord Mansfield is criticized. When the judge of the court are criticized or defamed, or it is to put scandal, they can punish the offender. They do it as not to protect themselves as individuals, but as to protect the authority of the court. It was so stated in one of the most eloquent passages in our law books, in a judgment which was prepared but not delivered. So in 1765, the Lord Mansfield was criticized, then made amendment against John Wilkes. Here it was a Lord Mansfield himself in 1765. He had made an amendment to information against John Wilkes. Now the Mr. Allman had a shop in Piccadilly. He published a pamphlet entitled A Letter Concerning Labels, Warrants, Seizure of Papers. In it, he said that the Lord Mansfield has made the amendment officially, arbitrarily, and illegally. Nowadays, we used to do criticisms of this kind, but in those days, the Attorney General moved to commit Mr. Allman for contempt of court. The case was argued, and the Mr. Justice Wilmot prepared a judgment of 28 pages in a length, ready to punish Mr. Allman. But Mr. Allman apologized. Attorney General resigned. The proceedings were dropped. So Mr. Justice Wilmot's judgment was never delivered. So Mr. Justice Wilmot's judgment was never delivered. 40 years later, it was published in a volume of Wilmot's cases under the title R.V. Allman. If their authority is to be trampled upon by pamphlets and news writers, and the people are to hold that the power given to judge for their protection is prostituted to their destruction, the court may retain its power some little time, but I am sure it will instantly lose all its authority of it, and the power of the court will not long survive the authority of it. It is possible to stab that authority more fatally than by charging the court, and more particularly the Chief Justice, with having introduced a rule to subvert the constitutional liberty of the people. A greater scandal could not be published. This is the first case. Lord Mansfield is criticized, and the second is Mr. Justice Ivory comes under fire. So in the first paragraph, you have to write that in those times, criticism was not common. It was considered as a contempt of court. Then in 1765, Lord Mansfield was criticized. It was made an amendment against John Wilkes, where the Mr. Allman shop, his shop was in Piccadilly, posted the pamphlets, and then the Attorney General was going to file a case against Mr. Allman. That time the Mr. Allman apologized, but the 28 pages which was prepared judgment by the Mr. Justice Wilmot was never delivered, and that was the case which was published of its volume of the Wilmot's cases under the title R.V. Allman. Next is the Mr. Justice Ivory comes under fire, second case of the scandalizing court. Second, first is obsolete, strand, resolute, stern, piercing, derogatory, away. Front. Mr. Justice Avery comes under fire. In the 1920s, the offense of scandalizing the court was regarded as virtually obsolete. It was revived in the case 1928. Here the New Statesman was criticized, Mr. Justice Avery, but it was revived in the case 1920 when I was 4 years called to the bar. I was in chambers at the number 4 Brick Court. I had few briefs. I spent much of my time editing or helping edit a new edition of Smith's leading cases. But I did not find the time to go across to the Strand to listen to this cause celebrate. The New Statesman had published an article criticizing Mr. Justice Avery. Means there was a New Statesman who criticized Mr. Justice Avery. Now he was a judge held in a profession with respect almost away, and here the description is made of how he was. He was a small man but resolute and stern. Resolute means determined and stern. Stern means serious. It showed in his face with his firm mouth and piercing grey eyes. He had tried a liable action with a jury. They had awarded £200 damages against Mr. Mary Stoops, the advocate of birth control, then much frowned upon. See the Sutherland versus Stoops. The New Statesman denounced a case and added these words. Means on this case the judgment was given, and on this judgment the statesman criticized the serious point in the case, however, is that an individual owning to such views as to those of Dr. Stopes cannot apparently hope for a fair hearing in a court presided over by Mr. Justice Avery, and there are so many Averys. Means here he said that Mr. Justice Avery has not given the fair treatment, fair judgment, and there are so many Averys like that in the court. New Statesman criticized Mr. Justice Avery. He was a small man but resolute and stern, with his mouth with piercing grey eyes. Then he awarded £200 damages against Mr. Stoops, Sutherland versus Stoops. And here on this case, the New Statesman made this criticism of him. Then proceedings were taken against the editor of the New Statesman for the contempt of the court. They are reported in R versus New Statesman. On the one side was the Attorney General, Sir Douglas Hook Casey. On other, Mr. William Jowett Casey. Each was a brilliant advocate. Each was afterwards the Lord Chancellor, but how different. Mr. William Jowett Casey, tall, handsome, and distinguished with a resonant voice and a clear and Sir Douglas Casey, Hook Casey, looked like a Mr. Pickwick. Pickwick means small height and spoke like Demosthenes. Demosthenes means cannot speak properly. Jowett put it well for the New Statesman. He quoted a judgment by a strong board of the Privy Council in 1899 saying, Sir, Mr. William Jowett Casey said this. Committals for contempt of court by scandalizing the court itself have become obsolete in the country. Courts are condemned to live to public opinion attacks or comments derogatory or scandalous to them. Then on this, the Mr. Douglas Hook Casey replied by quoting a passage from the Wilmot's undelivered judgment, upholding the offence on the ground that to be impartial, and to be universally thought so are both absolutely necessary. Then Jowett saw the court were against him, Jowett. So he handled them tactfully, whilst he submitted there was a no contempt. He submitted that there was a no contempt. Then also he excused the article by reason of a haste in which he has written. He has written, apologized humbly if it were held to be contempt. That pleased the court. They did not send the editor to prison. They adjudged that he was guilty of contempt but they did not find him. They only ordered him to pay the cost. This was the case of Mr. Justice Avery Comes Under Fire.